Welcome back to Truth Quest. My name is Aaron Moriarty. I will be your host, and we're going on a quest for truth together. And there's my night drive. I knew it was close by. Well, friends, I hope you had a wonderful Christmas Eve and day. Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. It's always a wonderful time of the year, no matter what. Oh, it looks like we have some more. We got a full house here, folks. Oh my gosh, look at this. Well, welcome, Catherine. Good to see you here. And Mud Rabbit. And guess who else we have here? Peggy Dancer. Welcome to the program, Peggy Dancer. Good to see you here. And wow, oh, and little Willie Fix-It's here. Good to see you. Good to see you here, buddy. Arr, Mary. Happy. That's right. And it's Operation Shutdown. That's because we're just downrange of strange, where the outrageous is contagious, and the paranormal is the new normal. And guess what? I got a, oh my goodness. Look at this. Catherine Weiss, thank you so very much. Laying down 30 big ones. Thank you so much. That helps keep the heat on. In fact, after the show, I'm going to have to go light my furnace because it's wanting more attention lately. So I have to give it more attention. Thank you very much, Catherine. Helps to keep the heat going here. Maybe one day I can get someone to come out and look at it. And hello there, Up3. Good to see you here. And we hope that you're feeling better, Peggy Dancer. We're always praying for you and everybody in our audience. And today, friends, also, thank you again, Catherine. That was very, very nice of you. So I got an email today from our good friend, Yavonda. And she sent along this article about, it's called, well, why don't I just show it to you? Shall I now? Alrighty then. That's not it. Well, where the heck is it? Oh, it's still up there. Okay, I have to drag this down. I forgot about that. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Was this going to show? Let's see. There it is. Okay, so strange underwater pyramids of Wisconsin's Rock Lake. So apparently there's these pretty big stone structures on the bottom of this lake, and they're theorizing they go much under the silt as well. And this isn't really a picture of it. You know, they always do that, right? They never, there's no pictures here. It just talks about a little bit. I did some more poking around, and thank you so much, Yvonne, for pointing this out. I never heard this before. So local Winnebago Ho-Chunk people have spoken of depressed hamlet, of rock lean-tos beneath the Rock Lake. Okay, and it also turns out that the History Channel has actually done a story on this. I think they've pretty much done everything. Yes, thank you, Catherine. The year of the monkey, huh? The rabbit and the year of the monkey. That's, well, so, okay. Now I'm going to put a link to this video in the chat. And it's History Channel. And they go out there and they take these little subs under there. But it's too murky and all they see is weeds. They didn't get close to the rock structures, which is kind of bizarre. They couldn't find them. But the level of the lake goes up and down, and around the turn of the century, turn of the century before the last one, the 1800s, some duck hunters put their oar down in their boat and they hit some rock, and it was the top of a pyramid. They could see it, and there have been people flying over it in airplanes that have seen them as well. And so I did a little bit of searching because, you know, I like to see what these darn things look like, and they did show a sketch that was done in the 1800s or the early 1900s when they scuba dove, and the scuba divers drew a picture because they didn't have cameras back then. It's real murky water, so I don't think they're ever going to really get clear pictures of these things unless they drain the lake. And, you know, I don't know, that would probably be devastating to the wildlife there. So here's what kind of a topographical map of the rock lake there. Okay, get rid of that. Right here, and you don't really actually see anything that looks like a pyramid in there. Apparently there are a couple of them, and the sketches are on here, and here it is right here. So here's a scuba diver, and here you can see it's triangle shaped on the ends, but they're long, okay, and there's a couple of them. So it's not your typical pyramid structure. But the locals in the area there, the native locals, they believe that the Aztecs built these. And it turns out the Aztecs may have been from either Wisconsin or area near Wisconsin, because they came from the north to settle in Mexico City. So it's very interesting. Here's this show. I just put the thing. This is the dude that is on that show, and he's going to look this up. And yeah, it's unfortunate they didn't get. Yeah, here he is in this little mini sub. They tried going under there, and you know, but without, like, you know, big lights. There's no lights on these things. So I don't know if they're ever going to get anything. But you'd think a drone from the sky at certain times of the day, you'd think you could see something. I don't know. But has anybody else heard about these underwater pyramids? Here's what it looks like in their reconstruction. There's the boat up there. Yeah, very interesting. So thank you, Yvonne, for sending that. If you're in the audience or not, I don't know. Maybe not yet. Maybe she's working and listening. But so there it is. Kind of interesting, I thought. And also, they say if you want to follow the Aztecs, those people, their whole society was built on corn, and there's a lot of corn up here. And it turns out, and I didn't know this before, but apparently corn cannot grow by itself in nature. It has to be cultivated by humans. Isn't that weird? Now, what does that tell you? It tells you that it's been cultivated for a long, long time, long enough for the plant to lose its ability to grow on its own. Isn't that strange? Oh, you've heard about those pyramids? Yes, so much has been hidden and lied to us about. Yes, I agree with that. Yes, there's one off the coast of Japan too, a huge, giant underwater structure of stone, gigantic, with steps and all kinds of things. Hello, Mad Pogue. Welcome to the program. Yes, that's Lake Mills. You are correct. You are correct. Yep. And it's pretty interesting. You know, there also was a giant pyramid on Montauk Island when settlers first came here to the U.S. before it was the U.S. When it was just help a guy out. Yvonne sent this story, gives us something to talk about. So maybe you heard of something you could send it to. That'd be great. Aztlan, yes. I've biked by Rock Lake, Aztlan. Thanks for bringing it up, Modpo. I couldn't remember the name of that place. That is the mythological birthplace of the Aztec people, where they actually come from. And so in that program, that History Channel program, they go there and they go to the local library, and there are some ancient maps in there. And they show the Great Salt Lake as possibly one of the origins of the Aztec people, because apparently it was by a large body of water. But there's large bodies of water everywhere. So you've biked by there, yeah. I guess the Aztlan Park, it's a park up there, and there are areas like mounds that were built. I grew up in a town called Mound, Minnesota, because of the Mohawk Indian burial mounds. And every time it rained, we'd get arrowheads popping up, you know, so many so that you didn't even want to collect them. They're just everywhere. I don't know where Yvanda's from. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure if she just heard about that. I think she just heard about it. Maybe she lives around there. I guess we could ask her. Actually, she sent me something. I probably could look at the return address, but I don't know where the package is right now. Yeah, and she did not want to be doxxed anyway. So there you go. That's the stone pyramids, pyramid-like structures on the bottom of the lake bed. Apparently, they were once on top of the ground, and that got flooded out there. It was like a little valley, and now they're underwater, and they're about I think 8 to 10 or 15 feet from the bottom is how high up they are. But they are theorizing that under the silt, if you would drain all the water and then, you know, dig around it, dig all the silt out, they'd be much, much bigger. They're theorizing. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Goes without saying, we don't want people to get doxxed. Enough of that happening there in the Twitter files. Huh? You've been keeping up with that? And the Fauci files are starting to come out, talking about how doctors were censored for just posting CDC information from their own website. Isn't that? And they were kicked off of Twitter, not given a voice. They were articles that maybe went in the other direction of the way everything was being draconally steered. Can't say it. Oh yeah, now in California they can't talk. Yeah, doctors can't talk to their patients. Well, doc, what should I do? Well, whatever the government tells you, that's what you can do. Other than that, if I say anything more, I get thrown in jail. I lose my license. I'm pooping on the street with the rest of Nancy Pelosi's constituents. Yeah, because that's what they want. Did you see Paris? Oh my God. Paris has fallen. It's fallen, friends. They let all of these migrants in, and they're of a certain faith that dictates. It's mentioned over 100 times in their sacred book that as soon as they become over 50% in population in any area, that they can go and eliminate everybody else. The fast way, the not very friendly way. And I think that was all done totally on purpose. I didn't think those parts of that book were put in there on purpose, because they want chaos. It's not good. Yeah. Ask your doctor. Well, that reminds me, not only doctors, but some law firms are even sketchy. Very sketchy. And speaking of sketchy law firms, let's hear from one of our sponsors, Schmelnick and Schmelnick, a sketchy law firm. Check it out.
Schmelnick and Schmelnick. Injured? Been in an accident?
Know someone who's been in an accident?
Know someone who knows someone who's been in an accident?
Look like you've been in an accident?
Or want to just be in an accident? We can help you. At Schmelnick and Schmelnick, we've changed people's lives. We've turned common hypochondriacs into millionaires. Here are some of our testimonials.
It started as just a scratch, but thanks to Schmelnick and Schmelnick, now I'm a millionaire.
Okay, listen. Dr. John Doe, and I've personally checked into each and every one of these cases, inside and out. I give all of the expert medical testimony for Schmelnick and Schmelnick, and they've even handled a few of my own personal cases.
Right? Schmelnick and Schmelnick! Well, what did you think of our fine, well-paid actors? Performances like this can be rehearsed for any courtroom in America. This can be your golden opportunity to sue your fellow man and make a pretty penny at the same time. Okay? Because at Schmelnick and Schmelnick, we can help you.
You,
yeah, we can help them. Call 1-900-SUE-YOU before our address changes or the Vice Squad catches up with us.
you took my line.
I took your line.
You slime? Just like that client we had. You took him right away from me.
Hey, I don't know what you're talking about, man.
Hey, Hoffa?
Whoa, Hoffa. What was that all about? Yeah, Dr. John Doe does all the expert medical testimony for Schmelnick and Schmelnick. And they've even handled a few of his own cases. So there you go. And remember, when you support my imaginary sponsors, you support this imaginary show. How do you like that? And there's a real way to help the show out. Get yourself some merch. Go check it out. It's a fun time. Believe you me. And also call in, friends, if you want to call in, talk about some of this stuff we got going on. You know, the Carrie Lake case is going to be taken. They're appealing, right? Just like a banana, they're appealing. And you know, that judge, boy, I'm sure he was under a lot of pressure. Think about the pressure that the Katie Hobbs people put on the different counties to the precincts to certify, or they're going to be thrown in jail or given fines, or just strong arm. And what does Katie Hobbs do? Did you hear what she did? She's not even sworn in yet, and she wants to censure or do something to Carrie Lake. Make it so she can't do anything. I mean, these people, they are so mad. Boy, I'm so glad that people are waking up. But we need more to wake up. So wake up your neighbor. Looks like military is truly the only way. Well, once that gets to the Supreme Court, I think it has a good chance, because so many laws were broken there, and fraud vitiates everything. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm very hopeful that this can be resolved without the military getting involved, but it's coming down to fewer and fewer options, isn't it? But we are the law and order people, and we hope, pray, and try and do what we can to try and help things move along in the right direction. And boy, these Twitter files are really a big first step in that. And I was listening to one of the shows about the latest drop, these Twitter spaces. And Tom Fenton was on there, and Dr. Drew was on there. And Dr. Drew was kicked off Twitter and was just let back on recently by Elon Musk for just questioning, So yeah, we need to clean up the AMA, FDA, CDC, and the rest of the medical community big time. GERD. Yes, we do. It's it's really quite criminal what they are doing, and health maybe should be crowdsourced, the information for health, because it's so important, and you need as diverse of opinions as possible. Because when you're in a situation, you're looking for answers, you don't care where the answer comes from. Maybe someone in Puerto Rico or Japan or some other place, they're doing something that might work for you, right? Hello, Andre Little. Welcome to the program. Yeah. So there you go. What do we got here? Still not back on Facebook yet. I might not be. I just might not be. Here's something interesting you might want to look at. These are the tragic last moments of the Cassini probe that crashed into the atmosphere of Saturn And this, of course, is a dramatization, but it's pretty interesting. And so why don't we check that out? Let me go back over here and turn this music down here for a second. And then we can go over. Nope, that's not it. It must be here. There it is. Yes. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is.
Hit the tenuous parts of Saturn's atmosphere, it was traveling at 123,000 kilometers per hour. The remnants of Cassini's fuel were deployed by its thrusters to keep Cassini's antenna aimed at Earth. At this point, Cassini was 1,900 kilometers above Saturn's clouds.
Isn't this interesting? I mean, even though it's a dramatization, it's pretty realistic. And fair use for this, by the way.
A minute later, these thrusters were firing at maximum capacity to keep Cassini from spinning out of control. Cassini was directly sampling Saturn's atmosphere, but this atmosphere was also heating Cassini up. Just 10 seconds later, the thrusters were overcome and Cassini began to tumble, cutting off communication with Earth. Cassini's onboard computers at this point would have been trying to figure out what was going wrong. Gyroscopes and star trackers would tell the computer that it is spinning, and it would likely have gone into a safe mode to divert power in an attempt to right itself. A minute or so later, the spacecraft would have disintegrated altogether and burned up in Saturn's atmosphere.
There you go. And that's a little quick little space jaunt, if you will. Good old Cassini, biting the dust, as it were, getting a little bit of data before it did. Quite interesting, quite interdasting, I would say. Quite interesting indeed. Corey Good dropped a video about some information that he is getting from some of these Earth Alliance people. Very interesting. They wanted population reduction. I bet they didn't realize that they'd be the population to be reduced. Yeah. It really is, and that's what's really sad. You know, I always wondered, you know, how could the people of Germany not have known? Now I know, because people are really easy to trick. They're easy to convince. Put someone in a lab coat, give them a script, people fall right in line. The ones that don't, they're targeted. Just, you know, it's pretty sad. It's pretty sad. I saw a comic, it was very interesting. I don't have a picture of it, but let me see. No, I don't think I do. This woman was seeing this doctor about her child, and the child was still using a pacifier, and he was obviously too old for it. And she said, "Doc, what are we going to do? My son's still using a pacifier, and doesn't really need it anymore." And the doctor said, "Oh, kind of like you still wearing a mask?" Because she was wearing a mask. Yeah, that's kind of like what it is. Hey, Sopranos fan 11, good to see you here. Yeah, okay. Let me get this all set up here. There we go. Alrighty, Aphrodite. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas. Or Schwanza, like Nancy Drunklosi. Drunklosi, is that how you pronounce her name? I can't remember. was so long ago. Hey, Dark Brain, good to see you here. Yeah, I'm hopefully going to be seeing my grandkids soon. So there you go. Here's something, friends. Every war in the last 50 years is a result of media lies, Julian Assange. Yeah, free Julian. The heck is going on? That's the one thing right there. I really wish that Trump would have pardoned him. Well, that's up to everybody, you know, whatever. He's definitely being targeted heavily. And whenever someone's being targeted heavily, you have to wonder. So, you know, I've been attacked mercilessly when I had my other show, which was much more popular than this show, by the way. I had hundreds of thousands of downloads on my other show years ago. This one, not so much. I don't understand it, but oh well. But I was being stalked by crazy people, and it was not cool. It was definitely not cool. So it's not all this love and light like people think. There's a lot of nonsense going on. Hobbs is completely and totally illegitimate. The trial only scratched the surface of the big steal of the Arizona election. Hobbs fears Kari Lake. Yes, Arizona governor-elect, she's not the governor yet, Katie Hobbs, urges court to sanction rival Kari Lake. Oh yeah, these people, I'm telling you. Boy, karma is going to be a big one on Katie Hobbs. She is just, I mean, her and Biden have proven you don't need to campaign. You can save all that money. You don't need to campaign. You can just not show up to debates, and you can win just by cheating. That's all you got to do. Yeah, the judge was either crooked or didn't want to be the one that was targeted. Because whoever does rule in Kari Lake's favor, you have to think that their family might all of a sudden have all these accidents happen. Accidentally. Allegedly. By these crooked people that don't have any morals that I can tell. They'll do anything. And that's what's scary about it, you know. Kari Lake completely had way more support than Katie Hobbs. Unbelievable. Oh, and Catherine had a good Christmas. Had Merry Christmas, Catherine. Merry Christmas, Mud Rabbit, and Merry Christmas, Dark Brain, and everybody else. Everybody else. Piggy Dancer, Sopranos Fan 11. Who else is here? Andre Little, Mad Poke. Willie Fix It. All our friends. Oh, really? That's sad. Snubbing is not good. Weather was warm. Oh, you lucky duck. Yeah. Yeah, I still don't think that that was lawful for them to release that deposition. And in the deposition, he was clearly protecting his IP, which they are clearly trying to steal from him. And they're trying to discredit him while they prop up these other people who have borrowed from his story, saying, oh, Corey isn't real, but these people who copied his story, they're real. Yeah. I don't know. We're going to need the chronovisor to figure this one out, friends. Yep. Well, if Corey Good's story is so fake and phony, like people think, how come so much of it lined up with William Tompkins' story of actually working, building, and designing the very vehicles that Corey had described prior? I don't know. Whatever. Some people will believe the attackers, and also I want to remind everybody that this, the truther movement, Corey Good came out years ago and called for unity in the community, saying, look, let's put our petty differences aside and let's all join together and work together, because only if we work together will we find out the truth. And he said, I don't know the whole truth. Somebody else doesn't know the whole truth, but we all have a piece of the puzzle. If we all just put aside our differences and work together with one voice saying we want full disclosure, that is the only way it's ever going to happen. And he was 100% right. What happened? The moments after that, he was attacked viciously by all of the big names in this movement. Names like Richard Dolan, really defamed him at a conference, and it was really horrifying to see and to hear. And right in front of William Tompkins, it was despicable. He really was showing his deep state position, really, to discredit anybody who talked about anything that wasn't okayed by the uppers or whoever you want it to be. Check this out. I don't know if this is true or not, but I ran across it. Have you heard about this? In 1898, Nikola Tesla once tricked an entire crowd into believing they could control a toy boat by shouting commands. He had, in fact, invented radio control and was piloting the boat himself. Interesting, huh? So he had a sense of humor. Sopranos fan 11? No. William Tompkins did not know Corey Good in the secret operations. No. Corey didn't come into it until like 1986, I believe, according to his story, his testimony. And William was out of those operations decades prior to that. And you don't think Dolan is deep state? Really? Well, I think anybody you see on TV a lot with this, and all of them, they're all deep state. You can find pictures of them standing with the Rockefellers, that Rockefeller guy. Stephen Greer, who is CIA, but he won't admit it. Yeah, he's creepy. Yeah, I know Sopranos Fan 11. Dolan plays that part, and he does it very well. I used to like him too, until he viciously attacked Corey for not having evidence for being in a secret program where you can't get any evidence from. So, yeah. Greer's worked for the Rockefellers, yes. Yeah. They're all controlled, dude. Dude. Anybody you see on TV is controlled. There's no exception. None. Oh, you met Dolan? He's a very nice guy. I'm sure he's a very nice guy, but I just, you don't go attacking someone like that. And what happened after he attacked him? He got a show on Gaia. Oh, wow. Surprise, surprise. Here's your reward for attacking him. It was a very coordinated thing. If someone can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. I just don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I don't believe anything that Greer said. Here's the thing about Greer. I was reading one of Stephen Greer's books because I wanted to have him on my show back in the 2006, 2007, when I did my other show on Blog Talk Radio, Aaron's UFO show on Blog Talk Radio. And I was reading one of his books, and I was about a third of the way through it, and it was really, it was not a good book. But I was reading it because I wanted to have him on, but I wanted to read the book before I even talked to him. So I was reading the book, and I was in the bathroom, and the book fell in the toilet. And I thought, oh, there's a sign. So I threw the book away, obviously. I did not get another copy, and I did not, I lost all desire to have him on my show. Even though I know he did some good things, he's completely controlled opposition. Because Andrew did see him in the programs back in the 70s, and he was introduced as, yes, he's works for the company. The company is the CIA. And he's gay, and he's looking for young men, and he smiled at young Andrew. So yeah, he's gay, and he's a CIA. He's CIA and gay. Hey, that rhymes. Could be a song. He's gay CIA. And the most alien-looking guy I've ever seen. He looks like an alien. The chronovisor has been brought up as of late, especially when going through Bible and Torah chapters and I recently discovered scrolls. Really? Oh, that's interesting, Peggy. Yeah, he's pretty nasty guy, I'd say. Oh, did I miss a dad joke? Oh my. I'll have to go back and look it up later. I don't want to miss dad jokes. I like dad jokes. I like it how dad jokes rhymes with bad jokes. Isn't that good? I like that. It's clever. It's clever. Very clever. All right. There we go. So I don't see anyone calling in yet. Here's something to think about. Please be patient. Decades of brainwashing are being slowly unwound in your lifetime. Yeah. Yep. It turns out that the only thing real that I saw on television as a kid was Gilligan's Island. I believe that was real. There you go. I did back then. I was like, after the show one time, I went in the kitchen. I said, Mom, we got to get a boat. I think I know where they are. We got to go rescue Gilligan and all the people on the island. Oh, I didn't miss anything, huh? Okay. Calling to the shoe. Okay, here's Rogan O'Handley. He's a pretty cool guy. DC Drano. Anti-Kerry Lake partisans shut down machines on election day in GOP areas. Yes. All GOP areas. Didn't count ballots at voting centers as required by law. Took over a week to count. No chain of custody docs as required by law. And this gets dismissed. Maricopa County isn't a banana republic. It's worse. Yeah, I would say so. How about passing this law? If you sneak into America, you will never be a citizen and never get any benefits, no exceptions. Hey, there's something I can get behind. Also, I think intermittent electricity running through there would be good. You know? And the donations for Truth Quest can be sent paypal.me, Aaron Moriarty 17. You send it as friends and family, there's no fees. Or Cash App, Truth Quest with Aaron, AARON. Right. Oh yeah, we already saw that. Oh yeah, here is that live Fauci Files live coverage, Dr. Drew and others roundtable. Here's Tom Fitton up here. Here I am right there. So there you go. Fun listening to those. It's very interesting. You get all different perspectives. It really is a nice thing. These, what do you call them? Twitter Spaces. Very interesting. I highly recommend them. And here's those. Here's a better picture of these underwater, sort of pyramid type structures over there in Rock Lake, in mid-central Wisconsin, central lower Wisconsin. And apparently there's also a Loch Ness Monster type thing down there. I don't know about that. I'll tell you one thing, snapper turtles are a thing in these freshwater. And our neighbor pulled one out of a swamp near our backyard when we lived in Mound years ago. There was a swamp right behind our house. We used to go play in the swamp, and he pulled out this gigantic snapper turtle, looked just like a dinosaur, and he held like a long stick, a thick stick. It was like pretty big, pretty thick, and he put it in front of his mouth and he snapped it right off. He could snap your hand right off at your wrist. Those snapper turtles are ferocious. You have snapper turtles too? Don't they look like dinosaurs? I mean, they look totally like a dinosaur. We had rubberback turtles too. And rubberback turtles always kind of freaked me out. They had like soft green backs. And yeah, I always like, it freaked me out. I don't think they bite you, but they're just freaky looking. Yeah, I swam a lot in Lake Minnetonka when I was a kid, and there's all kinds of turtles and snapper turtles, and I've helped snapper turtles across the road. You can pick them up, and they're trying to get you, man. They're trying to get away. They don't like getting picked up, but you know, they're alive, and I don't want them to get squished by a car. Because if a car comes, they'll just go in their shell and think they're safe. They're not safe. They're not safe. Oh, he's got tapes and videos that he took down there? Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that. I had not heard that. Okay, that's that. Let's get rid of that, shall we? Yeah, there we go. Yep. Oh, the book. This is the book my mom sent me of the history of the Cruz family, which was my grandma on my mom's side's maiden name, Cruz. And I was telling you about Tommy Cruz, and I finally did find the area here where it talks about Tommy's. Uh-oh. Okay, here it is, right here. Look at that big operation there. Isn't that wild? So listen to this. This is pretty interesting. I think you might like this. All right. This is Marysville, Montana. Okay. Drumlummen mine. In 1856, 20-year-old Tommy Cruz immigrated to America from his Irish homeland. He's Irish. So I got Irish on my mom's side and on my dad's side. He lived in a small parish called Drumlummen. Within a few years, he caught the American gold fever. How do you like that? Who wouldn't, right? And moved from New York to the West Coast to find his riches. Okay, so by 1867, Tommy ended up at Silver Creek, 6 miles northeast of what is now Marysville. It is there that he met a Swedish immigrant named William Brown and began a friendship which would last a lifetime. Whether it was out of sympathy or sincere wish to help his poor immigrant, William gave Tommy one of his 5 valued placer mines. He was hopeful he could get him started and stay in the area. Tommy accepted the generous offer and began to work his area in earnest. In time, he began to ponder the quartz encrusting the gold nuggets in his shit sifting pan. They're encrusted with quartz. He soon was convinced that he was near a real mother lode. His dreamed about treasure. Excitedly, Tommy told William about his speculation and tried to persuade his friend to go with him to find the riches. To his dismay, his friend wanted to maintain his meager placer mines, but wished him well. Always go with your instincts, friends. Can you see where this is going? Alone, Cruz began his short quest along the riverbed, and in 1868, it's only 1 year later, found the quartz. It was on the side of a mountain and spilled into a ravine. For years, he worked the quartz mine for what he prayed would soon become gold. The ore was there. He knew it. He just knew it. He had a feeling, you know? He was plagued by flooding, but continued to dig his tunnel into the mountain, even at the scoffs of other miners' disbelief in his logic. Here's another little picture of it. Look at that. Right in the side of the mountain. Hello, Metaverse and Free Range Brain. Welcome to the program. Reading about one of my grandsesters, Tommy Cruz. Cruz. In the process of digging a 500-foot tunnel through the mostly granite mountainside, that's the toughest kind of thing to dig through. And he's doing this by himself. In the process of digging a 500-foot tunnel through the mostly granite mountainside, Tommy Cruz discovered the rich ledge of gold in 1876, which was soon to be called Drumlummen Mine. The discovery was of a vein of immense wealth. Although there are stories discounting his rights to the claim, he did record the deed and maintained ownership, naming it in the honor of his hometown, Drumlummen Mine, which would prove to be one of the highest producing high-grade gold mines in the area. See, he saw a clue, the quartz encrusting the little nuggets of gold he was finding in his pan, sifting pan. So he went upstream, found where the quartz was coming. He dug into the side of that granite mountain, 500 feet. Wow. That guy really persevered, man. Wow. As word of the discovery spread through the area, hundreds, if not thousands, flocked to the area. By accounts of the time, Cruz soon named the blossoming mining camp after Mary Ralston, the first woman believed to have arrived in the area. By 1880, the mine was producing its first ore. Soon it had become a 5-stamp mill. This was small for the amount of gold estimated to be buried there. But Tommy continued to operate the mine mostly by himself. Can you imagine that? All by himself, mostly by himself. Sorry, I had to get a sip. You knew it was an Irish name. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All the important people in history are Irish. Did you know that? That's something like my dad would say. My dad was very proud of his Irish heritage. Okay. By himself. Okay. Yeah, wow. He continued to operate the mine mostly by himself. Wow. The long dreamed about treasure didn't generate a lot of money, but the potential was still there. So much so that in 1883, he sold all but 1/6 of the mine to the Montana Company Limited. His gold mine turned into a $1.6 million prize. And he even managed to hold on to part of it. It was during the management by this company that the mine saw its greatest success. In 1884, a new 50 stamp mill was constructed, and the operations continued until 1889. Soon, a feud developed between the St. Louis and Montana companies concerning a dispute in mining rights. It continued for the next 18 years, with the St. Louis company eventually being awarded ownership of the Drumlummon mine. By that time, most of the highest quality ore had already been removed. Many problems such as flooding and collapse plagued mining operations and caused the mine to be eventually abandoned. It was estimated that $50 million worth of gold had been removed from the original Tommy Cruise mine. Wow. And he built the town himself, or pretty much through the money that he made. And this is a church that he built. And that's my Uncle Lynn and Aunt Daisy. See how big it was back in the 1800s? It's still one of the biggest, maybe the biggest building in town. It's just gorgeous. Look at that. Just fantastic. There's a picture of the outside of it too. My dad used to repair stained glass windows, and he would make them too. There's the front door of it. It's a pretty big place. We're out in the middle of nowhere in Montana. Here's the outside of it. Look how spectacular this thing looks. I mean, you wouldn't want to be parachuting down right on top of one of those things. You want to steer clear of that. And there's my, let's see. Here's my mom here. Here's Daisy, my Uncle Lynn, their daughter Lisa, or is that Corinne? Might be Corinne. And that's my Aunt Lurie at that place. Isn't that cool? Yeah, wow. Here's some more pictures. Look at that thing. Isn't that just amazing? That high ceiling? How did they build stuff like that back then? Just amazing. There's even more pictures. So it's a pretty spectacular. He paid for the whole thing, Tommy. Because, you know, oh, there's a picture of my mom right there, looking up at that. Look at this. Wow. So I'm pretty proud of one of my ancestors followed his dream, found gold, and really founded this town and built a fabulous church. There they are at the front of the church there. Yeah, so that's that. So that was lovely. So there it is, the Cruise family. Star of the Cruise family. Aaron's special. Oh, yeah. Special because I was in special ed. No, I wasn't. But yeah, RH negative. You think that's Celtic? I thought it came from France. part in France, part in Spain, I think. Did you know that the rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain? So I've heard. I heard that somewhere. Have you heard that? Yeah, isn't that wonderful? That is a huge building. I would love to go there sometime. My uncle and aunt live out there near that area, I think. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Marysville. I didn't see really a map, but I'm not sure. I've never been to Montana myself. The only places I've been out west are California and Arizona, the only two places, and Las Vegas for an hour. That's it. I haven't been out west. Never been to Colorado. Never been to. I was only to California twice, both for business trips. No, the gold mine is not still active. No, not that I know of. They had flooding and cave-ins, and all of the gold had been taken out of it. But Marysville, yeah, Marysville, Montana. Oh, you know where that is? Well, let me see. I can look it up, maybe. Maybe I'll look it up on here. Marysville. Marysville, Montana. Okay, this is good. All right, I think there I am, way down here. Oh gosh, someday I hope I can get a bigger screen. My next confuser, I hope will have a big screen. That will be good. Hopefully. Let's all hope for that. Here is what comes up when I punch in Marysville, Montana. How do you like that? And where did it go? No, I lost it again. There it is. So, yeah, here's the mine there. It's kind of a clearer picture. Pretty elaborate. A lot of work. Boy, can you imagine? Just think of how much work that took. And yeah. So where's a map? I thought I saw a map on here somewhere. Here it is. Here's a map. So it's south of Great Falls, and it looks like it's east of Missoula. I don't know if you, let's see. This might be a better map. Maybe not. So let's see what it, what is this? Marysville, Montana. We just want to see the map here. Can you see the map? Oh gosh. I guess you can look it up. I'm not a good map person, I guess. I don't know what the right things to click are. So there it is. Marysville. Ooh, look at that car. That's restorable. It'll buff right out. Get that thing going. Oh yeah. Look at that thing. Probably just needs a new battery. It's probably about it, huh? What do you think? No problem. No problemo. Yeah, it looks like a mining town, like an old mining town, doesn't it? I guess that's what it was. There's that car again. Too cool for school. Oh yeah. Alrighty, Aphrodite. So that's Marysville. Oh, oops. Peggy, my late husband is from Montana. He and I lived in Glasgow, Montana for 5 years. Oh, I wonder where Glasgow is. I guess I have to familiarize myself with some map sites or something. And an engine? You think it needs an engine? It might, yeah. I think so, yeah. Could need something. Well, like my very first car, my 34 Chev, needed everything. It totally needed everything. But like every single thing. It only had a little area for one windshield wiper for the driver's side, none for the passenger side, because they don't need to see where they're going, right? Only the driver needs to see. So, yeah. A lot of wood in those old cars. Most of the inside is wood. It's just, the metal is just the outer shell. The rest of the inside is all wood. It's amazing how much wood they used in old cars like that. Hello, Austin Morris. Good to see you here again. You missed our little history lesson on Marysville, Montana, with my grandsestor Tommy Cruz, who discovered a gold mine in the area, biggest in the area, Drumlummon mine. I hope you had a good Christmas. Merry Christmas to you. Everyone's saying hi to Austin. Yep. Yeah. What else is going on in the news? So much, right? It's just incredible. And boy, you know, Trump, Speaker of the House, think it could still happen? I think it still could happen. I don't think people are warming up to this deep state poser, McCarthy. He's a poser. Yeah, well, you know, I don't like talking disparagingly about people, but you asked the question, what I think about this Daryl James guy. I saw a little bit of one of his previous interviews with the Journey to Truth guys. I think they do a good job. I don't buy a word he's saying. I don't buy it. I don't know. Drumlummon NZ over by Great Falls and Hever, Montana. Montana State University has an aurora borealis complex. Oh, really? Wow. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't buy that Daryl James guy's story. Just don't buy it. Sopranos fan, that is a psyop, okay? Yeah, the deep state's trying to get him to run. They're putting it out there, hoping to sway him. But I think it's highly unlikely, because Mike Pence just threw his hat in. And, no one cares, but they're going to claim that he is the guy. And, I got the higher ground and I'm not Trump. Yeah, you got no backbone. You didn't stand up when you could have. And look what the House did. They went and changed the rules. Now no one can do that ever again. Unless they change it back, which they should. You don't buy either. Too many logical discrepancies? Yeah. It's easy to tell the posers. I mean, I don't know. I can tell them right away. I don't know what it is. But I will say that Randy Kramer had me going for a while. But the more I look at what he said, it just doesn't feel, I don't know. Who knows? Chronovisor. We need chronovisors so we can verify this stuff. Otherwise, we're just all guessing, right? We're just using our personal discernment. And, that's a good thing to go by. But it's not always 100%. We all have our own biases. And, here's something that Corey has said that I think makes a lot of sense. I think is very true. That each of us sees things differently because each of us sees things through our own lens. We all have a lens that we see the world through. And every experience we have, everything we learn is another grain of sand that we have to now grind into that lens to make it part of that lens. So every experience we've had, everything we've seen, everything we've learned makes up this lens that we see the world through. And when we see the world through that lens, other people aren't looking through that very same lens. They have a different lens. And they might have a different logic. So everyone has their own different lens that they see reality through. Everyone's going to see things a little bit differently. That's why so many things are different. That's why there's more than one car design, because not everybody likes the same thing or can even deal with the same thing. Things in China are heating up? Well, I hope so. That would be nice to see something, the people rise up because they really can there. There's a lot of people there. So yeah, and really, as far as the deposition for Corey Goode goes, you have to think about it from his point of view. He's giving a deposition. They're trying to catch him on anything so they can call him crazy and steal his IP, which Gaia may have made up to or near $300 million from, which they've now taken them all off of the air because they want to own it. They're trying to squeeze him out. This is what they do. And that's why they're going after him. And that's why they try to get him to say that he met with an 8-foot-tall avian. Because then they could say he's crazy and take his IP from him. It's really that simple. Discredit him, make him look crazy, try to get him to admit something on camera. When he doesn't, leak that so they can discredit him more. It's really pathetic what they're doing. And if you go on to Ascension Works, that's extensionworks.tv, I believe. And that is Corey Good's social media company. And he puts out stuff on there. And you can get it from the horse's mouth there. And there's forums and everything there. You can, it's really, really quite interesting. But yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, I don't know. I do believe the Navy has a secret space program. I mean, William Tompkins put the cherry on top of that one with his testimony. Even on the back of his book, he got the Navy's permission to release this as true. So what William Tompkins says is backed up by the Navy. It's official Navy sanctioned, authorized disclosure. So I don't know how people could not see that or not. It's right on the back of his book. I don't doubt that. But if there is one, don't you think people would be in it? I mean, I think they would be. And I believe Corey was one of the people in it. That's my opinion. We need the chronovisor, okay? That would be great. We could verify or nullify all of these stories. You don't have a problem with Bill Tompkins? No, me either. He was legit. And Corey said that William Tompkins was the only other legitimate whistleblower. Otherwise, he would have promoted these other people because he wanted other people to come forward. But they weren't real people because he used different names for the Dark Fleet was not the Dark Fleet, okay? He called it the Dark Fleet, which actually makes it his IP. He made that up. He made it up so that anyone coming forward and saying, "Oh yeah, I was in the Dark Fleet." Oh yeah, what did they call it? Oh, the Dark Fleet. No, they didn't. You weren't in it. Boom. So it was like a gatekeeping mechanism. Ends up serving him well as his own IP now. So anyone claiming that has to be a phony because it doesn't exist in that name. So I think that was pretty clever of him, if his story's true. He did his last interview with Jordan Sather. It was a good one. Yes, it was. And, Jordan Sather is another guy I really admire, and I think he's very smart. And, anyone who knows anything about Corey Goode and David Wilcock knows that in the first two movies they made, Jordan Sather was instrumental in producing those movies, one of the co-producers and one of the content creators for the movies, two of them. They were independently introduced and did very well. Apparently, he was not paid for the second movie when he did most of the work in the editing and such. And, but apparently all that money is being held up in court. Corey hasn't even gotten it because they're trying to weasel it. They're trying to destroy him and steal it all from him. It's a coordinated effort. If you can't see that, then you can't see. But But Jordan Sather said, so he's a little bit perturbed because he didn't get paid, which I don't blame him. But Corey can't even talk about that part of it. So he can't even tell him that that's the reason. This is what these courts do, this lawfare. It's really despicable what the kind of power they have over someone's ability to speak. It's really despicable. It shouldn't be allowed to the extreme that it's being allowed. But he severed his ties with Corey Goode and David Wilcock. Corey Goode and David Wilcock, because he went, when they weren't shooting shows or shooting anything, they went over to somewhere in the US together to interview and talk to some new sources of information, whether it be the Earth Alliance or whatever it was. Some people that were going to be giving them insider information. And so he went to go see these people, and he said that after he met them for just a little while, he was like, these people are not good. And he's like, I'm out of here. I'm not down with it. I'm not going to be pushing what these people are saying, because he didn't trust them. So I think that is a problem with a lot of these people. They think that they need these insiders to feed them stuff. But who are the insiders? Who are these people? It's just like when the mainstream news says, oh, a source says. Who is it? You don't know. So how can you trust it? So I think he was right. And I think that was being pushed mainly by Dave Wilcock, but I'm not sure. If you also have noticed, Dave Wilcock is not doing anything with Corey Goode anymore, which is interesting as well. But he hasn't said anything negative about Corey, and he's been pressured to do so and been threatened to do so if he doesn't do so. But he hasn't, to his credit. Yes, I know Sopranos Fan 11. I saw it. But he has to say they came from his mind, because then they're his IP. Okay? Because he did. He named all these things different names. They're trying to steal it from him, dude. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how I can make it any clearer. But so imagine someone's trying to steal, say you had a wild story like this happened to you. You safeguard your story by putting in these roadblocks, which are other names of the programs, so that you can find out who is a real whistleblower if they know the real name of the program. So that came from his head. That's not a lie. So that put on top of the experiences that he had. He has to say it that way so he doesn't sound crazy. If he sounds crazy, then they can deem him crazy and take his IP from him. This is what they're trying to do. I don't know how come I'm able to see if other people aren't able to see that. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me. Call in and tell me what you think. Are they stealing it from him, or is he trying to make money but now claiming a bunch of it is fake and science fiction? Dude, IP is intellectual property, yes. Yes, none of us knows. But if you have an experience like this and have a hit TV show that made close to, possibly upwards towards, or maybe above $300 million, guess what's going to come out of the woodwork to try and discredit him and take over his story? All the bad people. So, yeah, that's what I think. Call in and let's discuss it. Only if you are part of the deep state is there big money in aliens. You have to be controlled or you don't get anywhere. That's why I'm small. I'm not controlled. If I was controlled, I would have 500,000 followers. But I'm not controlled. I gain 20, I lose 20. I gain 20, I lose 20. They got me in a holding pattern here. Alien content, yes. He did have experiences. Some of the things he talks about are in meditation or in dreams. So if you're dreaming, something happens to you in a dream, is that real or not? You don't know, but it was a dream. So, yeah, we need the chronovisor to figure this all out, friends. We're not going to solve this tonight. But my gut feeling is that Corey is an honest person, and he's doing what he has to and saying what he has to so that he's not deemed crazy. If he's deemed crazy, he loses everything. So he has to be very careful what he says in these depositions. The fact that it was leaked is the criminal part about all this. Shouldn't have been leaked. It shouldn't have been leaked. I can't imagine that was legal. Well, he wants money for it. Well, you know what? My show has ads on it. Yeah, sometimes I only make 17 cents. If no one super chats, or 34 cents for a show. Do I want to make money? Yes, I would love to make money. But it's very, very difficult in this area. And it's made even more difficult when you've had a past hit like Corey has. They're after you. They don't want you talking. They want to take it over, and they want to own the narrative and shape it the way they want to spread disinformation. They don't want the truth out. Okay? So, I don't know. The way they're going so hard after him tells you something. And he's smart enough not to say things in a recorded deposition that could make him lose it all. Okay? It could make him lose it all. If they find out he's crazy. Well, yeah, like I said, I don't know what more to say about it. He is suing because they have defamed him. They've gone after him. They've lied about him. It's despicable what they've done. it's really, really, he never even wanted to go public. He was outed by Carrie Cassidy, another person who I like some of the things that comes out of her show, but I don't know. She's another one that something. She asked William Tompkins something he asked her not to ask him about, and she kept after him, and he wouldn't talk to her anymore. I trust William Tompkins's take on her. Yes, the graphic novel version of Good's story admits up front that these are supposed to be recovered memories that had been suppressed in his mind. Yes. Sopranos fan, nobody knows the answer to that, okay? That's why we need the chronovisor. That's why we need the chronovisor. But some of these other people, I mean, I've been watching Corey for years. I haven't seen a sign that he's been that he's been misleading in any kind of way. So I don't know. Has he embellished his story? I don't know. How am I supposed to know? You know, I had a dream that was like a movie. Okay. That's how I got this story. Timex. Time Warriors. I got this story from a dream. Okay. I dreamt it. It came out of my head. And it's a pretty cool story. Pretty cool story. So yeah. And Ridley Scott almost made it into a movie. And if he would have, I would have 500,000 followers by now. I would have had it a long time ago. He admitted to lying. Sopranos fan. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Maybe you're not. Maybe you were out getting coffee or something when I said it before. But if he says on tape, in a deposition, a legal deposition in front of people who are trying to steal his property, if he says he really met an 8-foot-tall blue avian, they could deem him crazy and take his IP, destroy him, and put him have him institutionalized and drugged up and whatever they do to these people, because they do in those places. I talked to someone. It was a horrible experience. They drug you up right away. They shoot you full of all kinds of drugs. Then they evaluate you. Oh, he's crazy. Yeah, you're all full of drugs. What do you expect? It's a racket. It's a total racket. They get you in there and it costs 30, 40, 50 grand to get them out. It's a trap. And it's despicable. Some of the way the laws work in this country have really been taken over by the evil people. You listened to my Corey Good interview, very interesting in detail. Well, thank you. Yeah. Part of the reason I started doing shows like this is because people weren't asking the questions I wanted asked. So when I have a guest on, I ask the questions that I really, really want to ask. And they're not questions anybody ever asks, but it's something I always wanted to know. I wanted to know these basic things. So that's why I was excited. Corey Good was my first guest. My second guest was Andrew. Now, I do have a lot of faith that Andrew's story is true, partly because he's had 8 people come forward to verify his story who were in the programs with him. So that and all of his dates and names and everything. That's the one thing that Corey Good doesn't have names of people, but he verified in one of my interviews that they have false names that they're issued in the secret space program. And he said that you didn't even know what time period these other people were from because they could pluck them from different time periods. He said some people, they just walked and talked and had mannerisms of someone from the 40s or 50s. And he's like, wow, that person seems like they're from this different time period. So they had different names and they may have been from different time periods. So how are you going to be able to verify that? Yes, the Ascension Chronicles. Yeah, well, I believe it. Now, when I interviewed Steven Cefalo, he made the comment. I interviewed him a couple times on a show here. He said that when he was putting together the comic, there was a frame in the comic that showed some different aliens at that point in the story where he had seen these certain type of aliens. And Corey said, you know what? Let's put the who was it? Not Mika. The Zulu. Let's put the Zulu in there. He goes, I really didn't meet him yet in the story there, but I think it would be better to introduce him at an earlier point. Even though I didn't really meet him till later, it would be better probably for the comic and the possible movie that they should be with these other groups when you met these other groups. So Steven Cefalo, the artist who didn't believe or did not believe Corey's story, he's just wanted to do the art. He doesn't have a horse in the game. He said when Corey said that to him, it made him think, wow, if he was just making all this up, why would he put that caveat in there? Well, I really didn't meet them until much later, but let's put them in the front because it would be better to kind of prep people for when they come later. So there you go. There is some behind the scenes information that yes, some of the stuff in the book is made up. In other words, when you first see the Zulu, that really wasn't where they first were seen by Corey. So I don't know. If he was just making it up, why would he go into that depth? Wouldn't he just say, oh yeah, I met them all here. Oh yeah, now I remember, yeah. No. He's like, no, that didn't happen till much later. But let's put it here because it might make better sense to have them with these other groups that he saw. So I thought that was very interesting. And maybe not proof, but it's a tidbit of inside information that leads to the conclusion that, you know, this story is possibly true. And I think that it is. I think that it is. Now, do I think that maybe David Wilcock might have talked him into embellishing his story when they were doing the show, when they were getting paid big bucks to do this show? But Gaia was making much, 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 much more. You have to understand that Gaia, seeing them produce their own movies, probably, I don't know. They want it all. They don't want them to do it on their own. Okay. You don't buy it. It's a money scam to me. An honest whistleblower doesn't decide a portion of their testimony is sci-fi to make money or whatever. You know what? Sometimes you don't know what you would do unless you're in that position. So the other thing is, true whistleblowers like him, he lost his job, his high-paying job, because he was outed, and his whole life was destroyed. So now, you're not going to believe him? He has to be homeless and living in the gutter. He's not allowed to try to make money. That's ridiculous. That's stupidity. That's not even right. Sorry, that's not right. Someone could say the same thing about me. Oh, you shouldn't have ads on your show. We don't believe you. Oh, how am I supposed to exist? Coffee's not cheap. Oh, and guess what? I'm using a different mug now. This is a mug my daughter got for me when she went to the Sun Records studio in Memphis, where Elvis first recorded. Oh, that's cold. Cold coffee. My Love Bug mug broke, which I'm very upset about. It was my only one. So now I got to find a place to make mugs. Make another one. You've been a UFO enthusiast for too long to just sit on the fence here, but I still can't make up my mind about J. Corey Good and his adventures. Well, I don't know. There's also, people point to Star Trek. Star Trek was not an easy sell. That was, if Desilu hadn't have picked it up, it wouldn't have gone anywhere. No one was interested in it. A space Western. And that, what's his name? The guy who started it, Roddenberry, Gene Roddenberry. He had a friend whose father was in the secret space program. Did that affect, and he used to go there and talk to his family a lot. Did that affect what you saw on Star Trek? Possibly. Well, so what makes you think it's fake? Because of what he said in the deposition? Because what he said in the deposition, he had to say that way. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to do anything with his IP. It would be gone. Okay? So, try to disregard the illegally released deposition that he had to say the things he said in order to be able to keep trying to make a living off of something that other people have made $300 million off of. He hasn't made near that. Okay? Just like my grandsister, Tommy Cruise. 500-foot tunnel through a mostly granite mountain, mostly by himself. But he found the gold. He found it. And the other thing that's interesting about Corey Good is he's bringing this story to mainstream media and movie companies and such. And he's also in talks with them about a show about him being targeted by all these people. And they have all this information and footage and everything. So they're very, very interested in that. So all these people who are saying things about Corey, you're going to see their true colors and what they really are, and what fraudsters they really are, and how evil they are for going after him like this. It's really despicable. It's really, really despicable. And I'll never forgive Dolan for dishing on him when he's right there with William Tompkins, who helps to verify his story. He's saying there's no evidence. What? See, that's how you know it was deep state organized. They don't want this out. They don't want a guy out there with any kind of power or following saying unity in the community. They don't want that, because that's the only way it would happen. And Corey started that. And I even brought that up in our interviews. So, yeah. And he's always been upfront about, he says that these aliens contact you in your dreams first. And so it's dream-oriented. Some of it starts in dreams. Are dreams real? That's subjective. Could it be real? Maybe. When I left my body, that was real. That was very real. Because I didn't want to believe it. I really, really didn't want to believe it. I was a scientific evolutionist. I didn't believe in spirit. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe that I really left my body, because that would prove to me that what I believed was wrong. And I had to rethink my whole worldview, which is a very tough thing to do. It took me many years to reconcile. But finally, I had to decide, you know what? It did happen. There really is a spirit soul that drives your body, just like we drive a car. A body is like a car. Your soul is like the driver. But your soul doesn't have as much control as we have over a car. It can only give subtle hints. It's not a direct communication. It's really weird. But when you're out of your body, you can understand all that. But yeah. That was not a dream. I tried to imagine it. Well, maybe I was just imagining. I tried imagining it. I couldn't put that together. I couldn't imagine being a round ball about this big and seeing out of every direction simultaneously in crystal clear vision that I've never seen before. I've never seen vision this clear in all directions simultaneously, and moving. So I'm moving up at a sitting up pace, and I can see all around me, the walls, the ceiling getting closer, my body getting smaller, all at the same time. I was freaking out. I was like, whoa, I felt freed. I felt, oh God, I'm finally out of that thing. And I looked down at my 24-year-old body, and I realized that I had no connection to that body. And that's when I realized I also had lived many, 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 many lives. Way more lives than there are numbers to count. And none of those lives were registering either. How could they? So, the body is the car, the brain is the driver, the soul is the journey. Well, I don't know. Yeah. Well, thank you, Sopranos fan. Yeah, I didn't believe it. It took me years to reconcile, like I said. So many things weird happened that went completely against everything I believed. But you know what? I wasn't afraid of death after that. I was afraid of death before that. But now I know there's something after. But it's weird. It's weird. It sucks to know everything because you can't discover anything. So we need to really appreciate our life here on Earth and the idea that we can discover things, because when you're all-knowing, when you're an all-knowing super being, you can't discover anything. There's nothing to discover. You've already discovered things many times over. Like I knew I'd been to the sun, I'd been to the moon, I'd been to Jupiter, I'd been all these places, and it's boring as anything to know everything. It sucks to know everything. That was my brief 2 minutes out of my body. But yeah, it was the freakiest thing that ever happened to me. Second freakiest thing was seeing that UFO. That was super freaky. Super duper freaky. Well, friends, we're not getting anyone calling in. And we're coming up on a 2-hour mark. That means we're going to probably have to say goodbye and good night. I hope that you all had a wonderful Christmas, and I hope that you all have a great new year. I want to thank Yolanda again. I don't know if she ever showed up in the show tonight, but for sending along that Rock Lake mystery of the pyramids in that lake there in Wisconsin. Fantastic. And I was happy to read about my grandcestor, Tommy Cruise, and his gold mine, the Drumwoman mine over there in Montana, Marysville, Montana. At the very beginning of the UFO controversy, at the 0 point, so to speak, Frank Skelly's principal witness was brought to court on fraud charges. All the setup could be. They don't want this out. They really don't want this out. They'll move mountains like my grandcestor Tommy Cruise. They'll move mountains to make it not happen. Look what they did to Corey. They're trying to crush him, and they're getting everybody to think that he's a complete phony. I don't know. It's very sad. I wish him all the best, and I hope that he's well. Yes, and I think his story, whether it's all true or not, can help the normies wake up to the fact that we're not alone in the world, in the universe. And that is a big, big thing. Well, thanks, Dark Brain. I appreciate that. And thank you, Kathy, for wishing everyone a good night. And Piggy Dancer. And we're sending our prayers out to everyone who needs them for healing. We love you all. And we hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful new year. We'll see you again on Wednesday night. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, oops, I gotta type my little message here. Thank you all. And thank you. Oops, there we go. Much love. I love that saying, much love. I gotta use it more. And thank you, Kathy, for the wonderful super chat. And with that, folks, 1:59:37. Ooh, we might just make it. Until Wednesday, peace in.